Bill Belichick might have something going here. I'm going to tell you the moment that's happening with Bill Belichick right now, and the UNC Tar Heels as a recruiting entity, as a program. It feels a bit like when Steph Curry starts like 1 for 9 from 3, and then he hits 4 straight with a hand in his face, and you're like, he might have gotten it going. He might be on fire. Right? It's that, like, I know he didn't have it, but whatever that click is where it's now he sees it and good defenders have hands in his face and he's knocking it down anyway, or he's stepping back to the logo and knocking him down. I'll be the first to say I thought Bill Belichick would step into the college football world and darn near go around like he's at the grocery store and doesn't have a budget. I'll take some of those. I'll take some of those. I want these. Like, not looking at prices, not just grabbing what he wants. Didn't work out that way. Right? The 5 stars didn't just, like, against their will, gravitationally pulled to Chapel Hill. But he's hit 3 or 4 threes with a hand in his face from distance, and now I'm going, he might have caught rhythm. We talked about it in the Big 3 at 3. 4-star safety Jakob Weatherspoon flipped his commitment yesterday from Ohio State to North Carolina. 6 foot, 180-pound safety from Ohio that had been committed to Ohio State for over 6 months. Flipped to UNC. But it's not just that. They also received a commitment less than a week ago from 4-star linebacker Calvin Thomas. He committed to Carolina. He is a 6'3", 220-pound linebacker from Houston. That's Houston, Texas. Do you know what his final 5 were? The teams he was choosing from, he had whittled down the list of teams that were interested in him to 5 teams. UNC, Texas, SMU, Michigan, and Nebraska. Now, it's impressive to beat a Michigan or a Nebraska in a recruiting battle, right? They've got cash, they've got prestige, they've got a lot of things going for them. But getting a Houston, Texas linebacker to choose you over Texas and come to North Carolina, that's a deep 3 with a hand in your face. And then there's other little recruiting wins, such as one of their committed players that's already been committed. Quarterback Travis Burgess. Now, when he committed to North Carolina, he was a good prospect, not a great prospect when you look at the recruiting sites and the rankers. But guess what? Yesterday, that same day they received the Ohio State flip commitment, Travis Burgess was a part of the updated 247 top rankings, right? So they occasionally reevaluate, do the math and come up with a reordered list. So when 247, I should say, updated their recruiting rankings, the biggest riser in the entire rankings, Travis Burgess, quarterback committed to UNC. He started the offseason as the number 27 quarterback in the country. He is now all the way up to number 7 in the country. Apparently lit it up in some camps, lit it up in some elite quarterback camps. People are starting to notice. If the recruiting rankings were to end right now, right? Because obviously if he's a huge riser, there could be a faller, right? So we don't know what it'll end up being when these recruiting rankings are done. But if it were to end today, he would be the second highest UNC commitment ever. Drake May, the only one higher.
You're talking about specifically a quarterback or just
UNC's, second ever quarterback commit ranked in the top 100.
Okay. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good, and it's a different kind of recruiting win, right? It's one thing to go grab a 4-star, right, and you bring them in, and they're the top recruiter or whatever, and you bring them in as that. It's another to evaluate a player who's maybe a 3-star, evaluate a player who's, one of the top 30 ranked quarterbacks and go, this dude is legit. Let's give a ton of energy to recruiting him. Let's go get him. And then have everyone else go, oh, you were right. Yeah, he is. He's way better than the rankings say, right? It's like you were, for lack of a better term, you're kind of a recruiting hipster there, right? You're the one that got the cassette when they were playing in a garage somewhere. Now they're playing arenas and everybody's like, they're my favorite band. And you get to say, yeah, They've got platinum records now. I got their demo from their, their cousin who told me about it, and I've been listening to them since. Only instead of being just a kind of pretentious music fan, you're Bill Belichick and you're running a Power 4 football team.
Well, isn't that kind of his thing that he was known for in the NFL? Like, take the guy who's kind of overlooked or like maybe undervalued and like find the basically kind of take advantage of other teams, their market inefficiencies in order to find players and stuff. I mean, that's kind of what his shtick was in the NFL. But still, to be able to flip a 4-star guy from Ohio State, it's not like Ohio State doesn't have money.
For better and worse, that was his. Because his reputation early on was exactly what you're saying, right? You draft a Kent State quarterback in the 7th, and it turns into a 100-yard receptions wide receiver. Like, he found those. That's Edelman. But then towards the end, it became more like you're drafting guys you could have got in the 3rd round at the end of the 1st.
Yeah.
And if they weren't panning out, like he did, again, reputationally kind of jump the shark with it. And like, you don't have to be way smarter than everyone every time, right? Or you can keep your diamonds in the rough hidden and get them as values later on. If you think you can get them in the late 2nd, you don't have to draft them in the late 1st, that kind of deal.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with going and getting the stud player too.
Yes.
Which like when you're flipping in my mind, when you're flipping a 4-star guy from Ohio State that's from Ohio, it's like, I'm going to go ahead and get that stud guy too.
That's what I like about this. That's why I feel like it's a moment now where everything is like, it's the Steph Curry thing. He hit 3 straight threes on 3 straight possessions, and you're just like, is he going to score 60? Are we going to see 12 threes right now? Is he going to catch fire? Because it's not just one thing, right? It's not just that he's signing good players, which it would be awesome, right? Don't get me wrong, right? If you just sign, 2 4-stars and a 3-star, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
But when you add the context of a linebacker from Houston chooses you over Texas, a 6-month Ohio State 4-star commit flips from Ohio State to North Carolina, and the position that's rising up all the rankings isn't just some random, edge rusher or interior offensive. It's a quarterback that's now up to one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the country and rising. That's like, oh, yeah. Right? Just like, if Steph Curry hits a corner 3 with no hand in his face, it's like, all right, that's good. But it's when he does the thing where he, between the legs, around the back, uses the screen, then denies the screen, then steps back, falls as he lets it go. He turns around and shimmies, and it goes in. It's like, okay, this one's different. He's feeling it. Bill Belichick in North Carolina are feeling it right now. They're feeling it. And they're doing it their way. That's kind of the reputation thing, right? They're not just going after the highest-ranked guys. Sometimes I think coaches get infatuated with that, where they just chase every 5-star, or they just chase and they don't think fit, or they don't think they don't stop to think, is this player actually 5-star worthy, or am I just infatuated with the competition of beating out all the other coaches that want this 5-star? To me, they're seeing the field well, and that's on top of the strategy they had to use for this year. Because this year, like I said, they didn't just open a faucet and have 5 stars pour into Chapel Hill. They had to do a lot more than that. 41 transfers coming in for this upcoming year. Now, we've had conversations about mostly basketball. We have these conversations when a new coach comes in, because it's so much of a smaller roster. You think like year 1, pretty much going to have to build darn near the whole thing in the transfer portal. And then, year 2, a little less, year 3, your transfer portal guys should kind of be, just the filling of gaps that you have. But I guess football, it's the same thing, right? So Bill Belichick came in, 41 transfers, which does kind of, I don't want to say taint, but it does kind of put a different vibe on the fact that 247 has them as the 9th best transfer portal class of the year, because, a team might have 20 recruits that are all 4-stars, and then you have 41 that are 3-stars, and it's like, oh, ours is better. We have more value coming in, and it's, quantity over quality. But it's not just that for UNC. They are tied for 7th in the country with 7 4 or 5-star transfers. So they do have, like, you take away the bottom 10, they're still going to be one of the top transfer classes in the country. It's not just a volume thing. So to me, the first year, yeah, they had to take probably more transfers than they wanted. They need more ready-to-play guys because it's a new coach and you need to get your system and guys you like. And he was bringing in a bunch of assistants from other college programs that were able to turn around and say, hey, guy that I was your position coach for last year at a different school, why don't you come on over here, right?
Yeah.
His son, Steve Belichick, was at Washington as a defensive coordinator. A couple of pretty good players from Washington, now in Chapel Hill. So there's this year's a little different. Looking towards 2026, that's what I was talking about with all these flips and big names.
I'm curious how long it's going to take for them to gel as a team in terms of, like you said, 41 new guys as transfers. That doesn't even count the incoming freshmen and all that as well. New system. You don't have preseason games. You don't have, joint practices with other teams like you had in the NFL. Like, how long does it take for them to actually figure out what they truly have?
It's
because we can look at individual pieces, but in terms of putting it together, we don't know what the final product is going to look like.
It's going to be fascinating. And I know these two teams don't like to be compared, but last year, even though the volume wasn't there, everybody was so excited about NC State's transfer class because, again, it wasn't 41 players, but it was a former 5-star wide receiver, the top tight end in the portal, the one of the top quarterbacks, one of the top offensive linemen. They had actually it was like 3 or 4 wide receivers. Everybody was really excited about it. Oklahoma running back. And then you could see that it didn't all gel right away. And I actually think that's part of the reason why they're being slept on this year. Because I think after a year, some of those guys may mesh a little bit better, right? Noah Rogers, Hollywood Smothers, Justin Jolie may all kind of work better this year. So UNC has to do it quicker than that if they want to have success this year. But whether they do or don't this year, looks like Bill Belichick has a decent grasp on the recruiting for the following year if he's able to keep all these verbal commitments committed, which, in modern football is far from a guarantee.